Hi, my name is Aya, you're watching Aya Reads, and I'm here to start another vlog of trying to get out of my reading slump. So I did one before this one, and not to spoil it, but obviously I did not get out of my reading slump yet. But if you want to know like the journey, then definitely watch that one first, because actually a book that I started in that vlog, I'm going to be continuing on in this vlog. So let's see if this time I will be getting out of my reading slump. So while filming this, it is September 9th, and I've already finished one book. Well, a book is stretching it, it's a novella, but I am on the right track, in my opinion. So the novella I'm talking about is King Size by Jessica Cain. This was actually on my TBR for September, so I did finish one book of my TBR. I do have to say, I did start it on September 4th, and now it's September 9th. I just finished it, so it did take me 5 days to finish an 80-page novella. But you know, I still finished something, so that is a good thing in my book. So for those of you who don't know, Jessica Cain used to write these unhinged novellas where it's usually the girl is a virgin, there's an age gap, and they fall in love immediately and they have a lot of sex. So this is no exception, although I do have to say this one leaned more towards sweet than unhinged, although there were elements that were quintessential Jessica Cain. So this is a romance between a princess or queen and her bodyguard. So Britta is a princess, and then on the night her parents die. Obviously she's very sad about that, and the guy that's been guarding her, Rex, comes into her room and consoles her, and that is basically when they fall in love. He actually saw her before that. Obviously she's the queen, so he became obsessed with her and did everything in his power to become her guard. And now that he's there, what better way to get her to fall in love with him than to console her? Although I do have to say that was not really his intention. He just felt sorry for her and he consoled her. And then they fall in love. Obviously it's a forbidden romance because she's a queen and he's the guard, but it does have an HEA, they do make it work. I did really like it. I gave it 4 stars. For a novella, I thought it was done really well, although there was insta love, obviously. Like, they fell in love after like a day or something, so, you know, there's that. But you go into these novellas knowing that. So based on those parameters, I did like it. Even though it took me 5 days, I do have to say within that, like while I was reading it, I was compelled. It was just like a chunk in between me reading it that I just stopped reading altogether. So there were like 2 or 3 days where I wasn't reading. On the days I was reading, I didn't find it hard to pick this up. And obviously it's only 80 or 70 pages. So I would recommend it. And especially if you're in a reading slump, I would say this is a good one to help you get out of it because it's only 70 pages. There's 70 pages, but there are like 9 chapters, I'm pretty sure. Let me check before I say something incorrect. Yeah, there's 9 chapters plus the epilogue, so the chapters themselves are also very short, so that does help you fly through them, in my opinion. And this is dual point of view as well, so yeah, I liked it, and I would highly recommend it as a novella on its own, but also to try and get you out of your reading slump. So the next book I'm gonna be continuing on with is The Score by Elle Kennedy. So I did already start this, obviously, and I'm on page 175, so I'm on chapter 17, which is about halfway through, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, something like that. This is the 3rd book in the Off-Campus series. I already started it in my last vlog. And you follow Dean and Allie. Yeah. Basically, this is a one-night stand, playboy, wanting more type situation. I did explain everything about this book in the first vlog, so if you want to know more of like the synopsis, check that out. I do have to say, obviously this is not as compelling as I hoped it would be because I basically stopped this book to try and read another one, and King Size I really had no problems with. Once again, like I said in the previous vlog, when I'm reading it, I don't have any issues with it. It's just picking it up is hard for me. Like, I don't pick it up out of my own volition. I kind of have to force myself to do it. So I still need to read about like 170 pages. So today I have a free day. So aside from filming and editing and cleaning a bit, I don't have a whole lot to do. So my goal is to read a couple chapters of this book. Hopefully maybe get to page 200, I guess. And maybe over that, that would be great. And then I really want to make a concerted effort to really read on my commute. I said that in my previous vlog and I didn't really stick to that. So my commute is about 2 hours or so. It's a little bit less, an hour and a half. So my goal is to spend at least an hour of that reading. So hopefully I can accomplish that. Yeah, I guess that is my update for now. The next update will hopefully be me having read either a good chunk of this or already having finished it and moving on to another book. So I guess I'll see you then. So I finally finished Ensnared by the Werewolf, and I say finally because it took me 7 days to read a 70-page novella. So obviously I'm still not out of my reading slump, which sucks. Because I really thought that I would be by now, but I have like some kind of updates and things I want to implement to see if maybe that will help me. But before I do that, let's talk about Ensnared by the Werewolf. So I gave this book 2 stars, which sucks because I really thought this was gonna be the book that would get me out of my reading slump and would really spark my reading, but this obviously didn't do that. You can already tell because it took me 7 days to read a 70-page novella. That is just not necessary at all. And I do have to say, like, when I first started it, I was reading, I think I read the majority of it like the first couple days, and then I stopped reading altogether again. And I just finished it now. Okay, so I'm just editing this part of the vlog and I realized I never really told you what this book is about. So let me just give you a quick synopsis. Basically, this is about a witch and she has this shop, but she also is, I guess, she can break curses. So one day this werewolf shows up at her door wanting his curse to be broken. And she goes about trying to do that. And very quickly, they both realize they're fated mates. So honestly, this plot really reminds me of Wolf Gone Wild. And I would honestly say, if you like this book, read Wolf Gone Wild, because I think that book is definitely better because it's longer and just not this case of insta love. And I would say if you read this and just like me didn't really enjoy it, then definitely read Wolf Gone Wild. Okay, so I just feel like this book, first of all, I feel like she focused way too much on the plot and not enough on the romance. So the romance was not believable to me because most, like, especially the beginning, most of it was just focused on her trying to break this curse. And we never really got interactions between them. And I feel like she relied way too much on their fated mates trope, which I love fated mates tropes. I do, but it's not enough for me to just say they're fated mates and then for me to believe they're in love. What I love about fated mates tropes is that there is like a mate for everybody, I guess, but you still have to work on a relationship. You still have to build up moments between them. And I get it, like with fated mates, that you might move a little bit faster than if they weren't fated mates, but just saying they're fated mates does not a romance make. You have to actually build the romance, and that just didn't happen in this book for me. Yes, the sex scenes were hot because there was obviously primal play in here since he's a werewolf, but the ones that just didn't do enough to save the book for me. I do have to say, I think the main problem here is that this was a novella. I do think I would have loved this way more if it had been like a 200, 300 or 400 page book. So I am interested to read more by this author and especially read more books in the series. And I think the next one I'm going to be reading, it might actually be in this vlog, we'll see, is going to be either I think it's going to be Deceived by the Gargoyles, because they made a lot of appearances in this book and I was intrigued by them. It's a white choose, but I do believe like all of them are mates, so it's not just 3 guys and 1 girl. I think they're all in a relationship together, which intrigues me. So I'm not giving up on this author. I do think, like I said, I think the main problem is that the most problems I had was because it's a novella and I didn't think she handled that well, but I am interested to read a full-length novel and then decide what I think of this author, like judge her based on a full-length novel and not just a novella. So like I said, not out of my reading slump yet. It's September 22nd. And starting today, I am just gonna set a page goal for myself. Hopefully that will help. We'll see. It might backfire, but we'll see, like I said. My goal is to read at least 100 pages a day, especially on days where I don't have a lot of set plans in the evening. So especially like today. Today is Sunday. I don't have anything planned. Maybe I'll have a visitor in the evening, but that's like a maybe. I don't know if that's gonna happen, but especially in the morning and the afternoon, I don't have anything going on. So I want to read at least 100 pages. I think that's doable. I've read 17 so far, 17 pages. And basically what I'm doing today is cleaning, watching YouTube videos, and reading. That is all I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna intersperse reading while doing other things, and hopefully I can get to the 100-page mark, or at least I want to get close to it. But I think, like I said, especially today where I don't have a lot going on, I think 100 pages should be doable. So I'm sure you're sick and tired of seeing this book. I sure am, but this is going to be the book I'm going to be focusing on primarily. And I do have to say, I'm not really enjoying this book. I think this is going to be a 3-star at most. This might also be a 2-star, but we'll see. And then I also want to start Illuminate. I think a different genre, and reading this while listening to an audiobook, hopefully that would be enough of a different type of reading experience for me to also help me get me out of my reading slump. There are short chapters and it's all mixed media, and this is a reread too. So hopefully all of those things combined is also going to help me get me out of my reading slump. So I guess my goal is just to read a couple chapters of this and then read a couple chapters of this, and hopefully that will get me to the 100-page mark today, and maybe more, we'll see. So I guess I'll update you at the end of the day to tell you how I did today. Alrighty, so I just filmed some videos, so I figured now's the perfect time to give you an update because I haven't been doing too great. My reading slump, I'm also distracted by a certain person, so that is not really helping me, because the last update I told you that I had read 17 pages. So that was on September 22nd, and I finished the day with 17 pages because my goal was to actually read 100, and then somebody showed up at my place and we just spent the afternoon and evening together. So I didn't end up reading anymore. But the next day, September 23rd, I did better. I read 66 pages, which is better than I have done in a while, because I actually started Illuminate, which I took the dust jacket off so you might not recognize it. This to me is a very, very quick, fun read, and this is a reread for me, but the last time I read it, I only read it physically. This time I'm reading it while listening to the audiobook, and that makes me honestly fly through this. I do think because yesterday also I had a visitor, the same visitor in the evening, so I do think that if I had been alone the whole night, I do think I would have definitely read at least 100 pages, if not more. So I read 31 pages of Illuminate, and I also read 35 pages of The Score. So I was doing pretty well yesterday, so 66 pages. And I do think Illuminate is going to be the book that gets me out of my reading slump, because all I want to do really is read this book. So today is September 24th. I haven't read anything yet, but the plan is to hopefully finally read 100 pages today. So yesterday I actually read more of The Score than Illuminate. I don't think that is going to be the case today, but hopefully I can read a good chunk of this book as well. My plan is to hopefully finish The Score before the weekend. That would be perfect, because I really want to start another book. And yeah, Illuminate is really helping me with my reading slump. For those of you who don't know, Illuminate is this mixed media book. It's a young adult and it's a sci-fi. And that really is helping me, because this is so far from what I normally read. First of all, sci-fi, young adult, and also the mixed media aspect makes me want to fly through the pages. And since I'm listening to it on audiobook, and all the chapters, since there's not really chapters, are very, very short, I'm very easily going like, okay, so the next chapter is only 2 minutes. Well, then let's just listen to that. So that also helps me. Short chapters always help me get through books faster. Today is a Tuesday. So yeah, I do think it is realistic to say that I can finish this on Friday, hopefully. It is very hot, so I think I'm gonna cut this short here. Hopefully, so my goal for today is to get to page 100 for Illuminate, at least. Hopefully I can read more than that, but if I could get to page 100, that would be perfect. And then for The Score, right now I'm on page 237. If I could get to page 260 or something, that would be perfect. So we'll see, because today I don't really have a whole lot of plans. I just want to edit a bit since I filmed 2 videos. I want to clean a bit, and then I want to read and watch some YouTube videos, obviously. So yes, hopefully the next update will finally be me having read 100 pages. That would be perfect. So see you then. Okay, I'm here to finally give you a good update. Also, excuse my new little friend here on the middle of my forehead. It decided to show up and ruining my life. Anyway, moving on. I have some good updates because I have been reading 100 pages a day for the past 2 days. So actually today and yesterday. So yesterday I read 111 pages and 89 of those pages was from Illuminate. I have to tell you, Illuminate is, as I thought it would be, the book that is getting me out of my reading slump. I love listening to the audiobook and reading along. I'm very intrigued. I checked, I read this in 2016, so it has been almost a decade since I read this for the first time, so I don't remember a whole lot about it. And I'm enjoying the reading experience. Like I said in an earlier clip, the fact that the audiobook is seeing like each different media thing as a different chapter means they're very, 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 very short chapters. So I have like chapters of 1 minute or 2 minutes. So that is making me fly through this. And I am really enjoying it. So let me actually tell you what this is about. So basically Illuminate is about these two high school kids, Ezra and Katie, and they actually broke up on the day our story starts. But on that same day, the planet they live on gets attacked and they both get sent to different ships. And while they are there, they realize that there is like a disease going around and the AI on the ship is going rogue. And I do know that eventually we'll get the perspective of the AI. This is a full cast audio with sounds and everything, and I am thoroughly, thoroughly entertained. My goal is to finish this whole series this year. I think I can because I'm just happily reading this. So yesterday I read 89 pages. Today I already read 82 pages. So right now I'm currently on page 203. So almost halfway through. So I do think maybe I'll actually finish this before the weekend and maybe I'll continue on with book number 2. We'll see, because like I said, right now, this is definitely the book that is making me read this many pages. I also made good progress on the score. I read 22 pages yesterday and 31 pages today. So right now I'm on page 290 and I also have to say I am enjoying this a little bit more. I'm debating. As I said in an earlier update, I thought it might get a 2. I don't think it will get a 2 now. I think it might be a 3 or a 4. We'll see. I did look at the ratings and I do think that my reading slump is affecting my rating very much and my enjoyment very much of this book. So we'll see. I don't know that it can get a 4 because at the end of the day, this is not the book that got me out of my reading slump. This one is, but I cannot really set my expectations too high. I don't know. We'll see. So yesterday I read 111 pages and today, so far I've read 113 pages, but the day is not over yet. I'm probably going to be reading a little bit more, but I guess I'll give you that update in the next update I'm going to be doing. So today is Wednesday. Yeah, I do think I'll finish both of these by the weekend and then hopefully I can read another book during the weekend. We'll see. My plan was to upload this video on Sunday, but I think I'm going to switch things around because I kind of want to finish this vlog when September finishes, I guess. So maybe I'll switch it around and upload this one on Wednesday and then upload another video on Sunday so that hopefully in October I'll be fully out of my reading slump and ready to do some vlogs, because I actually have 2 vlogs I really want to do. Or actually 3 vlogs I really want to do in October. And obviously I can only do reading vlogs if I'm actually out of my reading slump. And I kind of want to, like I said, I don't want to have like any miscellaneous books that could have been in a reading vlog. So I guess we'll see. So this is neither here nor there. I guess while you're watching this video, you'll know what my decision was. So yeah, I'll see you in my next update. I am back and I'm here to give you an update. And actually, there's an even cuter update. I'm dog sitting right now. His name is Dante. He's very sweet. I'm gonna put some footage of him in here just to brighten up your day because he definitely brightens up mine. obviously also why you're here, but also let me give you the update. So I actually finished the book. Yay! Finally, I finally finished the score. Oh, Dante just woke up. Stretchy, and he's back down. Moving on. Yeah, I finally finished the score. This took me way too long. Let me actually see how many days it took me to read this book. It feels longer probably than it actually is. Okay. While Goodreads is taking its sweet ass time, let me tell you about my rating. I ended up giving this a 3-star. I do have to say, the last part I definitely enjoyed way more than the first part, and that is probably because by that point I was reading a little bit more of it because I am getting out of my reading slump. Okay, so it took me, oh my god, it took me way too long. I started this on August 16th and I only finished it on September 26th. So let me actually tell you how many days that took me. It took me 41 days to finish a 361 page book. Okay, if that's not a reading slump, then I don't know what is. So because it took me that long, I couldn't in good faith, almost slapped myself in the face. I couldn't in good faith give this more than a 3-star. Since I can see the merits of it, I can definitely see that probably if I was not in a reading slump, this would probably be a 4-star. I also couldn't in good conscience give it a 2-star. So I landed on a 3. Like I said, by the end, I was enjoying it, but it's for sure not my favorite in the series. And I do prefer the other two, mainly because, I don't know, basically where I'm at in my life, at this moment in time, I don't really like a story where the characters are just banging without being in a relationship. I don't know, I'm just not in the mood for that type of story. There's obviously nothing wrong with that story. I have read and loved a lot of stories that have that plot line, but at this point in my life, that is just not really the type of story I am interested in. So I think that affected it. And obviously the reading slump had a big effect on this book. So I do acknowledge that. And maybe in a different time, this would have been 4 stars. So I definitely not discouraging you from reading this book, especially not from reading the series, because the first book was one of my favorite books I read last year. And I'm just very excited to finish this series. That is not going to happen this month, but hopefully in November or December, I'm going to be finishing this series. Moving on to the book that is probably going to be 5 stars, Illuminate. I am flying through this book. I'm on page 362, so I'm over halfway through. This is where I'm at, so I only need to finish this. And the plan is actually to focus on this tonight, or to focus on this today. I have plans tonight. Actually, I have plans in the late afternoon tonight. So I think I have about an hour and a half to read, but I also need to edit a vlog. So we'll see how many pages I can get read, but the plan is to not start a new book today. The plan is to start The Architect tomorrow. So today, the little bit of time I do have, I want to focus on Illuminate. And then hopefully actually I can finish it tomorrow. And then maybe I can also start Gemini tomorrow. So like I said, I am doing well. I am getting out of my reading slump because yesterday I read 186 pages. So I finished the score and I read 121 pages of Illuminate. So like I said, I am slowly but surely getting out of my reading slump and I'm very excited about that. I think for the rest of this vlog, you're gonna see The Architect and Gemini, and then I'm gonna just finish this vlog and then focus on other things in October. I have 2 reading vlogs I definitely want to do in October and a bunch of books I really want to read in October. So I am counting that I'm definitely going to be out of my reading slump. I do have to say I can prioritize different things in October. So we'll see. Yeah, I guess I'll just give you my update once I finish Illuminate, and maybe I would have already read a big chunk of The Architect as well. All right, so I thought to give you an update since I have makeup on and I think I look nice. So I'm gonna go out to dinner in 10 minutes, I guess. And I'm almost finished with Illuminate. So I'm on page 546 of 600. So I still need to read about 50 pages. But I already know, without a shadow of a doubt, this is 5 stars for me. I really love this book. It definitely, I can definitely say for sure that it has gotten me out of my reading slump. Let me actually see. Yeah, because ever since I read it, I started reading it, I have definitely been reading more. I started it on September 23rd and I read 66 pages, then 111, then 128. Okay, I can actually, actually calculate how many pages I've read ever since I started this book. Okay, so on the 26th, I read a little bit more than today, but today I read 181 pages. So I've been doing very well. So I read 724 pages in 6 days, and in the last couple of months, that has been amazing. So for that, it definitely gets 5 stars. But also, like, I'm so very intrigued. Like, this is thoroughly entertaining, but also sad in, like, even though it's obviously not formatted like a normal book. I like the mixed media aspect. I think it's very, even though this has been written a while ago, 2016, I believe, 2015. So it's very ambitious, but I do think it definitely does what it set out to do. Obviously, I have not continued on with this series yet. And yes, I did read it in 2016, and I didn't appreciate it the way I do now, because I do think this is meant to be read and listened to, because the audiobook is amazing. So yeah, definitely 5 stars. And I am planning on continuing on. In fact, I think tomorrow I'm going to my parents in Rotterdam. So I'm gonna have a day of traveling. I have like an hour and a half to 2 hours of commute. So I will be definitely starting Gemina tomorrow and finishing this tomorrow, because I don't think I'll finish it today as much as I want to, but obviously I also have a life. I also read 18 pages of The Rivalry so far. I don't really have a whole lot to say about that. So I think I'll just give you my update once I'm halfway through The Rivalry and probably a good ways through Gemina. And the plan is actually to finish Gemina the beginning of October. So that is a series that I've been reading for 8 years, almost completed. So very excited about that. So yeah, this is definitely going to be probably the last reading slump video, because I do think I can finish Illuminate and start and finish 2 other books in this vlog, which if I do that, that means I have read 5 or 6 books in September, which the last time I read that amount of books was in June. So that's awesome. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing how much I can get read in October, because I do have big reading plans for October. So yeah, I'm glad I finally found a book that got me out of my reading slump. Honestly, I would highly recommend this book. If you've not read this book yet, or if you read it like years ago, definitely read it, because, or any other mixed media book, honestly, but this one is an amazing one to get you out of your reading slump. And please don't be intimidated by the size of it, because yes, some is more text, but a lot of it is just messages back and forth. And also you have like pages like this. Like that is nothing. It just says the same thing over and over and over again. Or like this, like just like one sentence for each page. So that does make it easier to fly through. So yeah, I am very happy, and I'm gonna enjoy my food and my night. And I guess you'll see me looking more disheveled during my next update. All right, so I'm here to do my final update. I am almost finished with Gemina. I still need to read this amount of pages. I believe it's still a little bit less than 100, like 90 pages. So I will finish this today, but I need to finish this vlog because I need to edit it and upload it because I'm going on vacation. So I will for sure finish this, which means that at least for today, I will have read for sure 202 pages so far. And I'm gonna go on a plane and fly for 3 hours. So I'm sure I'm gonna be reading way more than that, but I have been doing well, and I can say for sure that I am out of my reading slump, because on September 29th, I read 266 pages. September 30th, I only read 33, but I had to go to the hospital. I was in pain, I couldn't read a lot. But yesterday I read 321 pages. And like I said, today for sure I'm going to be reading at least 202, but I'm also going to be reading a good chunk of The Rivalry, which is a book I didn't finish yet. Yeah, Gemina is going to get 5 stars for sure. Like I said, I don't think the last 90 pages are going to change anything for me. I'm really glad I picked the series up again. It's an amazing series if you want to get out of your reading slump. And like I've said multiple times, make sure you listen to this as well as read it at the same time. I know that's an investment, but I think it's well worth it. It's just amazing to me, this full cast, and it's like a fast-moving story. I'm very much intrigued, and yeah, I am reading a lot of pages a day because of this series. I will be reading Obsidio this month as well, but I'm going to be doing that after my vacation so that I can also read it physically and listen to it at the same time. So yeah, I guess you'll see me again. So I have a couple of videos pre-filmed, And then you'll see me again when I'm back. I'm very excited about my vacation. And I'm very, very glad that I'm out of my reading slump. There are a couple books I'm planning on reading on my vacation, and I think I will be able to do that. And yeah, I really want to thank you so much for watching. Definitely let me know in the comments below if you've ever been in a reading slump and what has helped for you, or which books have helped you get out of the reading slump. If you're down there, leave me a stack of books emoji. And thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.